Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. There are three of us that are going to do this little bit of a discussion on a very important topic called follow-up. And what we want to do is share with you some very important things. Our purpose here is to give you an idea of the importance of follow-up, but also the crucial things, the crucial times to do follow-up, and maybe some suggestions on how that should happen. So the whole idea is to inspire you so that you'll enjoy doing follow-up, because quite honestly, it's something that's very needed, and it is needed for any business. So my name's Barb Satterwhite, and as you can tell, we're from our homes. That's the nice thing about being able to Zoom. And I'm at my cottage with my pretty little dog here, so she follows me everywhere. And I think you've each got a pet, right? So that's what we're doing. We're going to be sharing with you the concept of follow-up, and we called it "To Follow Up or Not." That's the question. So again, Barb Satterwhite from Richmond, Virginia. Been with Nikken for 24 years, love it. And I have two wonderful colleagues that are sharing with me today. So Suzanne.
I'm Suzanne Steele, and I am in New Hampshire. And I am very grateful that the person that loaned me a pad followed up with me to find out what my experience was, and it changed my life, and here I am.
Awesome. And I'm Jeannie Zedan. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. And for 16 years now, I've enjoyed the products, the mission, all the people that I've met, and lovely customers. And it's very important to follow up, because I'm a product of that too.
Exactly.
I have a question for you, Barb.
Yeah.
Is following up important?
No, it's everything. Because if you don't follow up, there's no reason for you to even contact me if you're not going to follow up with me. So it's crucial. And what we want to do is share with you some crucial times. And what we're going to cover why the follow-up, when the follow-up, what you would do, where you would do it, and how you would do it. Now, obviously, this is going to be a short video, so we won't have all the details that you will need, but hopefully it'll inspire you to get some interest and ask some questions. So there's 5 crucial times when we feel like you need to do your follow-up. So you might want to write these down. The first one would be after the initial contact with the person. The second one is after you've either done a product loan or you've sent them some information. And the third one is after a purchased product. The fourth one is for filter changes. You know, some of our products require filter changes, so that's a very important follow-up. And then we categorize the fifth one as ongoing communication. So we're going to go through each of these and kind of give you the why, what, where, and how. So I'm going to start with the after the initial contact. Why is that important? Well, first of all, you're building a relationship here. So one of the biggest things in sales or in any sort of a business is developing a relationship. And when you do that, you gain the trust, and then the rest is history, and it's easy. So very, very important. After you've initially talked to me somewhere or met me and I showed an interest, then it's important for you to follow up. And the reason is that you would want to, for instance, if you said to me, or I said to you, oh, just go ahead and send me something. Well, you might just follow up to tell me that you've done that. So we want that follow-up to be within the first 24 to 48 hours, and preferably 24 hours. So, and the other thing might be if you hadn't indicated or hadn't indicated that I wanted something, you might follow up just to thank me for my interest and find out what that interest really is to a greater detail. So I would know, or you would know what to do for me. So it's very, very important that we do that. And the so the why is very clear. You're really developing a relationship. You're showing the interest and that you care. And then the when, well, I talked about that, within 24 hours if possible. And what? Well, the what would be, if you've already said you're going to send me something, the what would just be to indicate that you've sent it. And when would be a good time to get back with me. So that would be the what. The where, this is what you want to develop when you talk to your first the first time you talk to somebody or a contact is determine what type of communication they want. Do they want it by text? They want email? They want phone? Whatever. So that's where you would do it. You would do what their preference is, their preferred method of communication, and how. So how did I know to do this on 24 hours later? Well, that's where you need to keep track. And we call it a tracking system. So you either put that in your phone or you have a note on the refrigerator, whatever works for you, but you need to have a how. So that's what, that's how I would suggest following up after initial contact. So now, Jeannie's going to talk about the next category, which is?
After you've loaned a product to someone is a really good time to follow up, and or maybe you've sent information to someone. And the why behind that is you really want to find out something. You want to find out, are they using what you loaned them, or have they read or looked at the video on what it is that you've sent them. And that shows that you care too, but it also kind of keeps them in the process, because perhaps they haven't listened to it yet, or they haven't put it on their bed, or they haven't put the duct tape on or something. And so they may have questions for you. So it's important to do that as well. Also, they could have used it. Maybe they've used it already and have already a testimony for you. Or maybe they've thought of someone in their family or their friends that could benefit. So you could, if you've loaned the product, you could set up a time when they're going to pick it up and that. So why is really important too. And I would do the 24 to 48 hours also in there. Simply like if you loan the product, are they using it? That would be important. And then later on in the week for them too. What I would say or send, I would ask questions regarding what happened. You know, how did you enjoy that article in the JP Times? Whatever it was that you sent. And so questions are going to be important there too. And maybe they're ready to get started. You might want to say, hey, you ready to become part of our global wellness? So the where again is determined. How did you find out in the initial contact? To keep in touch with them. What's their favorite way, so that you know they're going to respond back to you. If you send them a text and they want an email, they may not ever do text or so that would be important. And then the how again is the tracking system. So if someone has said, let's say, well, here I am looking at my notes. That's okay. To track them, the date you loaned it, when you decided to pick it up, put that in your date. So on my calendar, I use a day planner on a weekly basis. And so my weekly things I'm doing, that's what I do here. So I'll track, okay, in 24 hours. So I'll go to that page and I'll put follow up with so-and-so on this. So that's the how, which is really important too.
Well, and something I might just throw in here, like for instance, the 24 to 48 hours, unless they've said, gosh, can you call me on a certain day? You know, maybe their timing might be what you'd be doing. So that's good. Well, thanks so much, Jeannie. Well, our next is after a product is purchased, and Suzanne's going to share with us how we would do that.
Yes. So first of all, why would I follow up after someone purchased a product? Well, it does show that you care about the person. You want to make sure that they receive it. I usually would follow up to let them know that if I placed it for them, that there's a tracking number. I would reach out to them and let them know you're expecting this product on this given day. When would I follow up with them once they perhaps got their product? I would do it on the 24 to 48 hours because you want to make sure that they don't have any questions. If they have them, you can answer them for them. You want to make sure that they received it. And what am I going to say? What am I going to send to them for this particular product? Well, in the case of like a water system, I might send them a video that would help them set it up. If I'm not close by and I can't help them myself, I would again just figure out what their needs are, and make sure that they are enjoying it. I would find out if they've had any experiences, like Jeannie was saying. They may have a testimony already on this product when they were trying it before. That this is a great time to ask for a referral. This is also a great time, if you have a Google business page, to ask them to write you a review. So those are great things to do when you're speaking up and you're following up with them. Now, again, we're reiterating the same thing. Where? Well, that depends on how they'd like their communication. Maybe it is a text when the tracking comes. Maybe it's an email, forwarding the email from Niken to say, hey, here's your tracking. And I like to speak to people if I can. And also, this could be a great time to engage with another person in an ABC format as a follow-up once they got the products, because it's a process. So you can do a Zoom with people to have them learn more about the products that they're getting. Or maybe, as Jeannie says, it's time for them to join the Global Wellness Team. And I am reminded in various ways on the phone, the calendar, whatever suits you from a tracking system standpoint.
Well, I was
Back
just
to you,
thinking,
Barb.
oh, thanks, Suzanne. I was just thinking about that too. And, you know, a lot of times following up after the product is purchased, make sure they've gotten it, but then maybe a week later or 2 weeks once they've had a chance to use it, like you said, because, you know, I don't know how many of you have done this, but either on a loan or you find out that maybe 2 weeks have gone by and they haven't even opened the package. So sometimes they need a little edge or a little reminder and the value of it. So that's why follow-up is so important. And I can tell you countless times when I've called somebody and they hadn't even opened it. So
that is true. And I know that you might have the same thought, or you were shared this, that our products are our employees. And if they're sitting on the shelf or they're still in that bag or box, they're not working. So it's important to do that follow-up.
well, and I love it. I've always said my products are my employees, but they don't call in sick. I don't have to pay them. I don't have to discipline them, and they work. So having your products are great, great employees. So yes. Okay, well, thanks, Suzanne. And I'm going to go on and talk a little bit about that follow-up when you on number 4, which is when you need your filters changed. So that's pretty evident why you would do that, but maybe not so evident when you think about it. Most people you would think would want to change their filter and keep up with that. Well, guess what? We're all busy, and we all need reminders. So it makes sense that you have some sort of a tracking mechanism, whether it's every 3 months for the waterfall filter, whether it's every 6 months for the air. And then, of course, you have your auto ship people, all of your auto ship customers. Now, you're probably not going to want to call them every month or contact them, but you figure out, you know, what touching base, maybe every 6 months. How are you doing with everything? The other thing is, like Suzanne said, is to find out, what do you like about it? And hear more about what they like, and then ask that question, who do you know could benefit? And you're asking for referrals. So that's the why in the filter and auto ship. And so the when, again, we talked about the when and the actual what, you know. So some people like to send, you know what I forgot to say, some people like to send a note in the mail, a card, a reminder card, or an email. Again, whatever's their preference and your preference. But one of the things I meant to say too is that once I have a customer and they purchase a product, I send a handwritten note thanking them. And that I look forward to seeing how they do with everything. So then that reminds me to put it in a tickler file of some sort on a calendar. So, so the what, the when, and when again would be what we talked about, and where would be however that is easiest for you and for them. And the how becomes that tracking system again. See a common theme? That you need to have a tracking system. So that kind of dovetails right into Suzanne giving us some ideas about tracking systems. So Suzanne,
Okay. So
what? We forgot the ongoing communication.
ongoing.
So we
Jeannie,
have
Want to
one
be
more. The fifth one, sorry, Jeannie.
No, that's okay.
Ongoing.
They could all interchange, you know.
Yeah.
The ongoing conversations are about relationships, and we were talking earlier about, you know, you may not be able to do every person, but you'll have some customers perhaps that need more doting on, and so those that are close to you or maybe special relationships that you have with them, and you may want to um, keep them updated on new products and events, and uh, they have a testimony. Maybe something in their life has changed. Somebody had a baby. Maybe, you know, there's all kinds of things that can happen in life. And so again, I like the personal notes, Barb. I think that's really, really good. You can write them a little note, just stay in touch. Sometimes these days with email and all of that, having a real letter or a real card in the mail is kind of, you know, it's kind of switched back and forth again. So that would be a neat idea for that. Maybe they need a new supplement. Maybe their, you know, their bones or, you know, something could have happened. So it's a way of just communicating with them, checking in with them, finding out how they're doing. And maybe a new product came out and you thought, bing, hey, this person, you know, so might really, really want to do that. And then, so the when is going to vary, you know, depending on the person, depending on what's happening there too, but as frequently as they would like to be in touch with you. Like I said, some people want more doting on than others. Some people like once a month or, you know, that kind of thing. And an example would be, hey, would you like an update about what's going on with Ken? And then they can say yes or no, give them an option. Where, again, is going to be how you communicate with them the best. But I still like the little personal note anyway. I don't think people are going to say, don't send me a personal note, a personal letter or a card. You want to track those things, especially with those. Someone had said, you know, maybe 5. You might have your My 5 and I, your 5 special people that are very, very close to you. So, and you've got to track that.
Well, what was that?
Now we're to the tracking, but go ahead, Barb.
Yeah, no, I love that concept, and it's hard, you know, when you've got a lot of customers, you're probably not going to follow up with all of them every month or even every quarter, but think about a system where, and as Jeannie said, you know, if you're picking those top 5 or 10, pick like for me, I pick the ones that are very active in terms of wanting things and liking things, and I've built a good relationship. So I have a friend, she's actually 78. Every other month I'll call her and we have lunch. And every time we have lunch, something comes up that she has an interest in and she buys a product. So again, it's just having the joy and the fun of connecting with these people. This is another benefit of what we do. We've met more friends and some neat people. So yeah, I love the concept. And so we need to maybe talk about some tracking systems. Suzanne.
well, there are a lot. And it is okay to try different ones. Find out what works for you. I started out with a thing called a Boss Box. It's really like a recipe card box with 3x5 index cards, and you just write down the information on the people, and you have a month by month, and you just put them where they need to go. It's very easy, very inexpensive, and anyone can do it. But there are other ways. Jeannie mentioned a day timer. You can have a legal pad that you just write down 1 page per month, and you have that, or each day or each week. You can have spreadsheets online. You can print them out, have them on your desk. There's customer relationship management systems, or CRMs, that you can have, or databases. There's your phone. You know, you've got your personal computer. Wherever you go, you can put contact information with customer after or before a person's name, and you can easily cull things out and put notes in the people that you meet through NECAN that are your customers or your consultants or both. But you need to do something, because if you don't, you'll live in a world of sticky notes and post-it notes, and that's not really fun, especially if you have a windstorm that comes through your house. Yes, we all have them, but it is important, because you never know who knows someone who has a dog. And those people who have dogs love our air systems. So making those connections with people will continue to expand your customer base. And asking questions and finding out about their animals and their grandchildren will help you do that, and writing them down so that you can remember in any way.
Super. And I think what you're saying too is that whole conversation, just the tracking system's so important. And then what you say to somebody just varies, obviously, but just even connecting and following up and getting to know them better. So, well, super. Well, this is kind of what we wanted to do, is share with you how important we know that follow-up is, because any one of us can be pretty slack in it at times. So it's all behooves us to create a very good system. So what we want to do is, in summary, is each of us want to give you a couple of nuggets or lessons learned that perhaps might benefit. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. One tip for me that works real well is to have an accountability partner. It can be about follow-up, which is really important. That's the big. So it could be a person, or it could be a group of people, and you might just text back and forth, hey, we did this today, or whatever. Make it quick and simple depending on your schedule. And the other thing is the tracking. It's so helpful to write it down somewhere, and you could even have like a little whiteboard or something for what you're working on at the moment that week or something, so it's in front of you. So those are my couple.
Super. Thanks, Jeannie. And Suzanne?
Well, I guess my two nuggets or lessons learned is you can always go back. So say you lost track of someone, there's always something new, something's changed in their life, something's changed in your life. It's a good thing to reconnect with people. And no, when someone says no, it's not no forever. It's just not now. And it's key to remember this. This is a Q-tip. And a Q-tip means quit taking it personally. So if they say no, don't take it personally.
I love it. Thank you, Suzanne. I got to go get a Q-tip and put that on my desk. So, and my little nuggets are, I love the statistic. On average, no matter what sales you're in, it takes anywhere from 5 to 12 encounters before there's any action. So don't get discouraged if somebody hasn't done something in that first encounter or second encounter. And remember, it's okay. It's their timing. So sometimes that's the biggest thing, is your patience. And remember that 5 to 12 times is the average. So gosh, if they haven't responded to me in 5 times, I'm not going to go home crying. So that I love. And then the other thing is to be natural. Enjoy this. Like, I do look forward to follow up, because you get to connect with somebody. Having just sent out an email yesterday about the new products, I got an email back. I love that, So follow-up is so important. We hope you're inspired to do it. We hope you're inspired mainly to create your tracking, because that's a challenge for all of us. No doubt about it. But we're here to share with you, and we're so excited. And thank you so much for joining us.